What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded, a shortened and possibly brief live stream I'll be doing today. Just to say hi, trying to get back into it, wondering how all of you guys are doing, if you've had a wonderful Christmas. Don't forget to check me out at twitter.com/Lore Reloaded, twitch.tv/Lore Reloaded for a lot of fun. So, I was going to do this on Christmas Day, but I decided not to. Had a couple of things going on and really just decided to relax a little bit. You guys know how that's going. So we're doing it the day after. Again, depending on how many people show up and how interested you guys are, we'll move forward with it or not. Merry Christmas to you, Otaku Panda. I haven't gotten to talk to you in a while. I hope everything's going well with you. Otaku Panda does some wonderful Let's Plays, just like fun Star Trek Online, Pokemon. My favorite Let's Player, I'll say, on YouTube at the very least. So you guys should definitely check her out. We got Toomey Ebenezer, 1690 in the house, of course, 47 Yorktown. So I was thinking of doing a video that was similar to this topic. And then I noticed on StarTrek.com, they already thought of this entire concept, which is see, I need to move that over. Also, that's halfway through. Thank you so much for giving. Matthew, stay with me a second. I'm going to read that, and then we're going to have a discussion, because there's something cool coming up with that. But going on to what I was saying, I was thinking about talking about religion, or at least religious belief and activities in Starfleet, with basically a bias against religion, definitively with the Terrans and humans, most likely all of Starfleet. And so I was thinking about how to do that and tying it into Christmas a little bit. And then we had StarTrek.com say why A Christmas Carol is required reading at Starfleet Academy. I think that's an interesting discussion, and it goes where I kind of wanted to get to. But before I do that, Matthew Faustini helping out the channel. You guys know the only way I keep the lights on is through giving like this, and through watchers like you. So thank you so much. One thing I do want to say, Matthew, I'm doing something new that I'll have a video coming out discussing soon. But there's a channel by the name of Lore Runner, twitch.tv/The Lore Runner. I've had him on my shows. I really love the channel. And one thing he does is any kind of gifts, like funding, like through PayPal or through Super Chats or through Patreon. He actually goes towards projects that are funded by fans like yourself. And once they're funded and he can afford it, he does a review on it. I'm going to start doing something like that in 2020. I've already started it now. So Matthew, if you go to lorereloaded.com, you can see some of the things that people have suggested, some of the different videos, like Star Trek Nemesis, Star Trek First Contact, Robotech, things like that. So if there is a project you'd like me to fund, please let me know in the chat, and I'll be happy to put it towards that. Once it's completely funded, I'll do a video for it. If you have any questions on that, let me know. But I'll have another video coming out explaining a little bit more. Anyway, back to it. We got Polal in the house. We got Vovocat. Good night. Hope you having a good night as well. I actually got the notification in time. Is YT broke? It may actually be. It may be. That might be why it's working. By the way, a Merry Christmas to you as well, Matthew. And, you keep up the good work, sir. You keep up the good work. So, let's talk about the juxtaposition of how Starfleet operates. That is to say, Starfleet has holidays that they quite clearly enjoy or know of. There are books that they quote, the humans specifically, and yet we're told that they are absolutely positively secularist, that they are atheists. They do not believe in a higher power, which is kind of weird. So the article, and I'll post it right here, is why A Christmas Carol is required reading at Starfleet Academy, which got me kind of thinking through this. I wonder if Starfleet Academy, if a part of the training isn't looking at the literature of the past and taking something from it, and more trying to glean the, I guess, good messages and such, or it could just be something from the past where they can't let it go. And I'd be curious your guys' opinion on that. So we know that within Starfleet, in the Next Generation and on, they know a lot about the Bible. There's Bible verses that are used here and there. A Christmas Carol is quoted quite a few times, as well as several other historical books that have a religious bent to them. And it's not just Christianity. You'll find that there are several different other quote-unquote religious texts that are utilized. And it could go a couple of ways. First off, humans are supposed to be super intelligent in this era, right? So it's possible that they simply know it because they're super geniuses. They're supposed to be able to do calculus at like 5th grade or when they're 5 or something stupid like that. Or it could be that they take the messages specifically from what is being taught, or what is that Starfleet Academy would take these different messages and try to show the good points of the actual, I guess, where they're coming from. I'm not sure. I'd be curious what you guys think. I'm sorry, I'm still coming back from Christmas, so I'm trying to get back in the realm of things. We got Polol. The humans in the United Federation planets are definitely biased against religion. In their eyes, religion nearly wiped them out due to the Xindi's trust in their gods. Not saying it's justified, just throwing my hat in. Yeah, I don't think it's just that. If we look, because in the original series, they still had religion to a mediocre degree, I'd say. But during their travels, like every other episode, they would meet various gods. So it would be, you would really need faith after all of the exploration to think that there was a uppercase G God after meeting so many entities that basically are just reenacting what gods are or can do, right? So I wonder if that kind of led towards the dissolution of it. And I would agree with Continuum Track. There are 37 to 40 people watching, only 14 likes. Don't be afraid of that like button. It's more afraid of you than you are of it. Henry V is quoted, which takes place in a Christian universe, says Rurge. I'm not sure what you're specifically talking about, Rurge. I need to know the specific context for that, unless you're talking about this universe. I don't know. Meeting Q kind of makes you disappointed in gods. It can, for sure. I think the Christmas or Easter as celebration are bastardized, so as a non-believer, I enjoy the fun stuff that was attached to it. You know, Joseph Petrick, I'm kind of on that piece too. I think that that's probably is religion to a degree, probably is taught both at Starfleet Academy and for kids who are growing up. But I wonder if it's not done to show how, like, language, grammar, and how people were taught when they were grown up in the past. I think even if you had the entire Starfleet, the entire Star Trek universe devoid of gods, which you don't, but if every race didn't believe in gods, but it was based on, to a small degree, the real world, then you would still research, you'd still at least study that, because it's the origins from whence it came, right? Even if we looked at it today, and let's just assume, just for argument, that there was no God, that everyone came to the belief that God didn't exist. I would still say that you would need things like the Bible to be included in some different classes, as well as a religious studies. I do completely believe, at least in the United States, there needs to be a class that studies all religions. I'm serious, all major religions. Simply because it kind of gives you context on where you came from, what society and culture was like, and it is a good look at how language changes. Especially when you look at where the Bible, just looking at the Bible, which is what I'm most familiar with, how it came about, how it was transcribed, and then the different languages it was transcribed in. I think is a very just important piece of the culture, at least again in the United States, that would have some impact. I'd also argue even for the United Kingdom, given everything that happened there in that history. So I don't know. I think Starfleet probably would teach things like that, though the fact it is human centric is intriguing, I think. That's not true. Starfleet accepts and treats all religion with respect. It just doesn't endorse one over the other. That, Cedric Taylor, is not absolutely accurate. I don't think that I don't think they treat all religion with respect. You notice that all Starfleet officers, most all Starfleet officers, are uncomfortable when presented with someone who believes, especially if that person is a Starfleet officer themselves. They respect it to the point that they think that someone who believes something should be able to endure it, but not necessarily, or should be able to practice it, but not necessarily agree with it. In fact, in the Klingon religion, when Worf wanted to die and he wanted to be killed, it's a part of his religion, a part of his belief. You see Riker having a huge issue with that, not wanting to respect that. Even though it's different, he had different morality for it. And again, Starfleet, especially humans, but mostly most species, I'd argue, are horrifically secular. And I would say that has to do a little bit with the culture. I think it simply has to. Brandel Fetton says, I'm from Austria, and being Catholic here is mostly nothing more than a tradition and not about religion anymore. Most people are atheists or agnostics, and Catholics only on paper. You know, I don't necessarily want to get completely into this, Brandel Fetton. But I will say that I do think that religion, in the United States even, has been normalized, not normalized, I'd say culturalized, to the point that it is whatever flavor you want and isn't necessarily based off the Bible. I don't necessarily want to argue that. That is my opinion. If you disagree, you're welcome to say you disagree, but let's not get into an argument about it. This also is my topic, because this is what I have a degree in. Oh, that's cool. S. Key Wells. I mean, if some religions nowadays require ritual human sacrifice, do we allow it? Is that tolerance? There's a difference between what we allow today, Vovacat, and what's allowed in the 24th century. In the 24th century, they're open to almost literally anything that you want to do. It is supposedly a utopia where all ideas are embraced as long as you're not hurting other people. In fact, this is epitomized in Picard, because during that discussion between Picard and Riker, Picard, the quintessential Starfleet officer, the proto-Starfleet officer, was willing to respect Worf's ideals, what Worf wanted to do. He didn't agree with it. He didn't want to see Worf go. But he was so enriched, so much enlightened human, that he was okay with it going through. There's no such thing as someone who is not religious. Today, secularism is just a new kind of religion. Okay, S.K. Wells. Okay, buddy. That's right. I have a God-sized hole in my heart, buddy. That's exactly what it is. It's possible that human beliefs spread to other races. Sounds ludicrous, but cultural diffusion like that has occurred numerous times in our history, albeit maybe not to that level. Polal, are you talking about the secularism or the atheism? I could agree with that, somewhat. Humanity has a huge role in the formation of the Federation. Remember, it was only 4 races that ultimately created the Federation. And that was the Vulcans, the Andorians, the humans, and the Tellarites. And so humanity being 25%, and in fact being the core race that brought everyone together, possibly could have had an impact the way it did. In fact, they were so integral that Starfleet, the formation of Starfleet, which did form, I hate people who don't understand how the people who claim to know what they're talking about, Starfleet was formed within the Federation itself, and they kept the name Starfleet from the human wording of it. I'd like to think Starfleet allows religions and endorses some of its ideas, even while thinking it's archaic and obsolete because of how mankind has evolved past it. You know, Marinade, I would agree with that. I would say that that is exactly the official stance. That Starfleet allows religion, but doesn't endorse it and doesn't go out of their way to push it. Respect, if you can say respect is tolerance, then probably they respect it to that degree. I think on a personal level, you are looked at kind of oddly. We see that happen. We see that in DS9 with Ross. We see Riker and others, how they interact with Bajorans as well as Klingons. But the official policy is to be okay with it because you have Vulcans, which arguably still have religion. I'm still on the fence on whether they do or not, honestly. But arguably Vulcans. Then you have Klingons and you have Bajorans. So at an official level, you're not exempt if you have a faith or something you believe in. But when it comes to a personal or a cultural level, I don't know that that's the case. Again, the way the interactions happen. I don't know. The first human manifesto is agnostic and declares humanism as real. I don't care what a manifesto says. There are a lot of Christians in this world, and if you've ever read the Bible, there's a couple things I don't think you should do in there either. So just because someone wrote a manifesto means nothing to me. We got our resident Romulan, Rami, who thinks I hate all Romulans, and yet she or he is someone who is allowed and welcome on the channel. I love all Romulans. I just, like everything else, point out when they're trying to get everyone killed. So there was the episode where the Enterprise was trapped by an entity that demanded a sacrifice of a portion of the Enterprise's crew. Okay. That was a being, though. It wasn't necessarily a god. Vulcans have traditions. It's less religious and more we do this stuff. Yeah. I mean, again, there are, like anything in Trek, there are things that have issues with each other, things that don't jive, continuity problems, if you will. And I think that the Vulcans, if they actually have faith, is something that's debatable. I could see maybe if the Vulcans had faith before, then they embraced logic, and so they just logically kept parts of it that made sense. I don't know. Starfleet requires students to study Captain Kirk's medical reports religiously. They should. That's just should. SF, YouTube tried to block what you just said. That's hilarious. A belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and yours. Well, same to you, Zamiko. Same to you. Never understood why you should base your entire life around a millennia-old book. No offense to those who do. I just personally find it strange. Why do you have me read that stuff, Palal? That is not. And I agree. To each their own. Whatever you want to believe, as long as it doesn't impact other people, I don't care. As the Federation is a Homo sapien members-only club, Starfleet could assumedly require something that was important to human history. Here's the thing when it comes to Starfleet. I don't think it's necessarily fair to assume that Starfleet was Homo sapiens only. I think from what we see a lot of humans because we are human, and writers are going to write to what people, that's the only way we're going to watch it. If I wanted to explain it in canon, it seems likely that a lot of the species, due to dietary as well as, quality of life requirements, would section off the different races, So what Vulcans are comfortable with, or what works with Vulcans, is probably different from what works with humans, which is probably different from what works with Andorians. So a lot of ships would be focused on a specific species. That's not to say other species don't interact, other species aren't a part of it. It's just you get more human-centric or Vulcan-centric or any of that type of ships because quality of life lessens when you're with another species. We see this kind of in DS9 when you see a Vulcan-only ship. Yeah, to Delilah's point, the environmental aspects, the quality of life, how the environment would impact them. Which is why in DS9, again, you'd have Vulcan-only ships. In TNG, we see a lot of human-oriented ships. I don't know that it's so focused on humanity. It's just that's the part we get to see. And I'll say this again, we can discuss this lightly, but I don't want to get too deep, especially discussing religion in the real world. So let's stay away from those let's stay away from those comments if we could. Like everything else in society, Ferengi religion revolves around the central concepts of profit and the accumulation of wealth, the great material continuum being central to this belief. Yeah, that's because they wore hats. I was not a huge fan of that. If I'm being completely honest, I wish their religion had a little bit more emphasis to it or a little bit difference in it. Things don't have to be all around one specific aspect. I mean, it should. Understanding human spirituality is essential to understanding what humans are all about. Most human cultures are based in religion. They were in the 24th century. They weren't all the time. I've said it a couple times. I'm going to start removing comments that revolve around specific doctrine when it comes to the Bible. I did open it up, so I'm going to let you guys have what you have before, but it's going to start being removed as of, well, I guess it takes a minute to get you, 60 seconds from now. Thank you for the prop-ups. I'm not sure what that means. Agreed with your statement, just quoting Star Trek V. Again, I think that there's a lot of value in all of the texts, you know, so I could actually see that. What I don't get is why people get so upset about that too. Triangulum Audio Studio, sorry, did I miss your views on the Bajoran religion? What specifically in the Bajoran religion do you want me to discuss? I would be very interested in, well, I mean, when it comes to the Bajoran religion, I think it's the most obvious. They're not gods that you can get. That said, I think that Kira Nerys is like what all religious people should be. I love how Kira Nerys addresses religion, and I love how open she is. So I think that's exactly how you should be if you have a belief. Basically, she believes that the prophets or the wormhole aliens are our gods, and that they take care of all of Bajor. But she's open to other people's beliefs in gods, even if they contradict hers, and she respects them. She even respects the gods of the Dominion. And she sees how powerful that belief is and how open you should be. I honestly, when it comes to, she's my favorite religious terrorist. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Bajoran's gods actually manifested to them? They do. Do you think Starfleet has something akin to an X-Files division? What do you mean by that, JJMFDL? I'd need more on that. You mean something that investigates things that can't be explained? Maybe, but everything happens so much that, occurrences are just a way of life, you know? What if he decides to actually the final goal of civilization? Can you rephrase that, Vivicat? That doesn't make any sense. Picard said in the episode, the entity that threatened to kill many of the crew, that he believed the universe was so balanced that there might be something more. I'd have to reread that. That goes against his character. I don't really think that would be something that Picard would believe. I'm not assuming that it is. And I'm not saying you're lying, Branson. You're I don't remember that, but we'll just take it for now. That would be a continuity issue. Almost everything that Picard believes in, Picard says, and Picard does goes against the belief in a god or gods. I mean, he is the quintessential atheist in he is, and in fact, again, I really like Picard. I think he's a proto Starfleet officer. He's what I look to, but good friend, he is a bad atheist. He is, if you ever want to look at how not to believe in atheism, or how not to be an atheist, definitively look at Picard and do the opposite of how he acts. If you could do that, you will be a good atheist. And that's all there is to it. Christy Souls helping the channel. As you guys know, it's how I keep the lights on. Christy, so there's something new starting, just so you guys know, where you guys are going to be able to fund various projects. So if I'm doing a review or a breakdown, or I'm not doing a review or breakdown that you want to see, then you can either become a Patreon, become a member, and then you can say where you want those funds to go to, or you can do super chats like that and let me know what you'd like to see on the channel. The super chats and money you give will actually go towards funding those projects, because sometimes there's projects I just can't do because I have to keep the lights on. And so if you guys fund it through giving like that, I'll be able to do it. So Christy, if there's something you want to see, go to lorereloaded.com, take a look at everything that's being funded right now. If you don't see anything there, just let me know. I reserve the right to say no, because it has to fit terms of service, but that's something new I'm trying. So let me know if there's something specific you want to go for. Thanks for giving. Some believe the prophets are evolved Bajorans from the future, making their path follows. I've heard that. It goes back to how the Q basically humans at the end of their evolutionary basis. It's possible. I don't know that there's a ton of evidence for it. Everything we see really believes that these aliens just set up shop. Basically decided that they like the Bajorans, so they're gonna make them believe them, I guess. Looks like you need money now for lights. I do. I always need money for lights. Are you saying my lighting setup is bad? Is that what you're trying to tell me, good sir? Surf Trectonics, if that even is your real name. The Q are essentially God, but almost every time they appear, the Federation balk at them with a decidedly arrogant attitude. You may be omnipotent, but F you. Yeah, again, I think it would be hard to live in a universe where Q actually does exist if you don't accept Q as a god. If you don't think Q is a god, they're just evolved or using technology you don't understand, then it would be hard to believe in a god overall. You know? Explores paranormal occurrences, myth, legends, just search out a new strange avenues of exploration. I don't know that'd be X-Files. It's just so common. That's the thing, JJMFDL. The issues with an X-Files like entity would be so common that it would be difficult for that to happen. I hate you, Joseph Petrick. I hate you with... Okay, Joseph Petrick, you want me to do a breakdown of makeup tutorials? Fashion and fitness tips. You're going to need to give me a specific channel or video, and then we'll assign a price to it, and I'll put it on the channel. If I haven't said yet, I hate you, Joseph. I got your channel super late, but I genuinely enjoyed your Romulan breakdowns, and I'm happy to pitch in for future projects. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Christy. If you have anything specific, let me know. I'll be doing Romulan breakdowns, so you don't have to put towards that. But if there's something else that I'm not doing, let me know. I think Starfleet would look at religion text as we view Greek or God mythology, important to overall education. I think so too. I'd agree with that. What's going on, Captain Geronimo? Hope you're doing well. If things like the Q exist, I don't see how that disproves a God existing. The whole it must be a supernatural and unexplained routine. Ignore basically all of philosophy till the 17th century. Okay, SK Wills, but I mean, the Q effectively are everything we can see and what a god can do. So are you saying a god that they are gods? And if they're not, what's the difference between the Q and an actual god, I guess? What's going on? Augmented Dictator games? I'd be interested. No Romulan breakdowns, but they're going to be good Romulan breakdowns. Triangle Studio, I can never make you people happy. Ever make you people happy. Nothing I do. I try so hard. The back is not lit. That's kind of done on purpose to a degree, but I can do this. Hold on. Whoa. I don't like that. That wouldn't be it. Gain it up. There we go. That's a little bit better. Could exposure it up. Oh! But then the light comes up too. What all can you see with that too? Let's see. Let's do this. Boom. Fixed. You're welcome. That'll be $50. I'll be the judge of good versus bad Romulans here. Lore Reloaded. The prophets might have found the wormhole's energies matter the most comfortable to them and made it home and leading them to form the core of the Bajorans' religion. I would agree. I think that's probably what happened. A lot of people think that they're Bajorans. They may be. But, I don't know. Yeah. P is higher than Q. If you heard the audio drama between Q and Spock, you'll get the reference. I have, in fact, seen that. Yes. I have, in fact. But again, I did expose myself. You're right. I overexposed myself, some might say. This place makes me tired. So tired. All right. So, I think we can all agree, going back to it and breaking it down, Starfleet does require religious various. I gotta move that. I also need to extend that. Why is that still sitting there? That's just horrible. I'm horrible at doing this. All right, so you've already given to that. I'll add that to it. And then we got Zachary Mullins supporting the channel. Zachary Mullins wants some Fallout lore. We'll put that on. Would love to see a breakdown the god of Shakari and beta canon to Q XX Imiko XX. All right, so I'll put those in. You guys will see it on lorereloaded.com. You can see what's being funded and how much you'll do. I'll add that probably tomorrow, if not at the end of this stream. Thanks so much for supporting me, guys. It's the only way I can keep the lights running. Let me know how you like about this funding idea. I'm really excited about it. No idea what I was talking about beforehand, so this is going to be a great way to get me off track and to confuse me on channel and get a lot of that. What was I talking about? I was talking about... I don't know what I was talking about. So... I guess SK Wills, I will go back, or Polal, whoever said it. If there is a God and it's not Q, how do you delineate between who God is and who Q is? I don't know how you do that. How do we define God? We saw two omnipotent species in TNG, and Starfleet didn't fall to its knees and started to pray. See, yeah, that's my thing. It would be almost impossible to distinguish. But the history of humanity, and really the history of the Vulcans and Dorians, everyone, is important to understand. What's going on, Admiral Saval, is important to understand. So Starfleet Academy teaching these things would be vital, would just be excessively important, you know? So starship breakdown of the Typhoon Valkyrie. By the way, I'm doing the Typhoon Pact, or the Typhon Pact, however you say it. I'm doing an actual lore breakdown of that, Broken Eyes. If you haven't seen it, the first video has been up. But yeah, it is stupid easy. You were discussing how you're going to appropriately reflect how the Romulan Republic of 2416 has made Romulans weak as a species. We could discuss. I don't know. We're going to need to see what's in canon before we take a look at that. The Civil War in Star Trek Online is actually very interesting. But I want to see what they want to do with it with Picard, if we're going to see that. I do think we are. I think they're going full Star Trek Online and Star Trek Picard. There will be some changes, but I think there will be. How was your Christmas? My Christmas was great, Admiral. Hope yours was doing well, too. They have been surprised. They have been tricked. They have been killed. They cannot be gods. Gods can't be tricked, surprised, or killed? Huh. So, wouldn't that make your god not powerful? If there is something a god can't do, isn't that god limited and thus not all powerful? Because if a god can't be tricked, he can't be fooled, he can't be killed, then he has an inability to do something. I can do something your god can't, so am I more powerful than your god? Somebody's been listening to, what the hell is his name? That joke, it's going to go nowhere because I'm not going to remember his name. I got no idea. Sad. He's a well-known YouTube atheist, though. Oh, well. Now I'm going to be embarrassed in front of you guys. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I may not even be wearing pants if I'm being honest with you guys. Maybe the Q are not gods. They just have sufficiently advanced technology that seems so. That's the way Marvel goes. That's the way I look at it too. I don't think we've necessarily met any real true gods. We've just met beings that have technology we don't understand, which is exactly how Marvel explains Thor. I just remembered. There it is, Matt Dillahunty. Somebody's been listening to Matt Dillahunty. That's what I was going to say. But it's too late. The joke's gone. How would the Star Trek universe fare against the Flood? Basically organic Borg. I actually played Halo. I think ultimately the Flood could be destroyed, especially with the invention of transporters and quantum torpedoes. So yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that famous YouTube atheist, Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's exactly who it was. Yep, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Just like the famous YouTuber Will Smith. I'm not an atheist, but I think they are advanced either biologically or technologically. Yeah, I could see that too. But again, I mean, even if we assume that it's due to technological means, why does someone using technology to do everything a god could do not make them gods? Why does it have to be biological? You know? I don't understand why that would inhibit. Again, the term God in the Star Trek universe is almost useless with the invention of Q, with the invention of the Bajoran prophets. The fact that there are entities that can do everything a god can do. Yeah, I don't know. Axeman Titan, NDT is an agnostic. Most all atheists are. I don't understand hard atheism where it says a god does not exist. I don't think that that's something anyone can say. By what you just said, Ardra is a god? Why does that sound familiar? Where's Ardra from? I feel like I should know that. It occurs to me that Kira should be uncomfortable every time she goes through the wormhole or in awe. I think generally she was. If you first time you see, thank you so much for giving. Andy Tiger, let me know where you want that to go or what you want that to fund, and I will put it on there. You'll be able to see it on lorereloaded.com. Once fully funded, I'll do it. Kira, when she first goes through it, in the first couple of early seasons, I really think she does have awe. After a while, though, it's something that you become normal to, something that's normalized, I guess. Not only that, basically Cisco is space Jesus for her, so she has to still be on her guard and taking care of the ship. Basically, if Jesus came down and he said, hey, I want you to drive a car through heaven, the first couple times you do it, you know, you're going to be in awe, but after a while, it's just, you know, home dog Jay wanting you to do something for him, you know? I don't know. Could a Sovereign class ship fight a fleet of 22nd century Klingon ships? Yes. Yes, Ardra was from TNG. She was Oh, okay. That's who Ardra was. That's right. That's why that sounded so familiar. So what was the question about Ardra? What specifically about her were we talking about? What, Now I remember, yeah. She was hot. I liked Ardra. Why does Starfleet classify Q's existence, if I remember them doing that right? Why does Starfleet? I don't know how they classify them. If that's in something, I don't remember it. It's a semantic thing. To me, gods are more akin to abstract, sentient concepts that exist outside the universe and can only affect the universe through its emanations. I mean, that's fine if that's what you believe, JJMFDL. I don't want to get into the argument. And since I'm saying it, it opens it up for people to give a comment, but we're not going to argue over it. I think that that's a limiter on God, JJF and MDL. And so you can't say your God is all powerful, if that's true. SK Wells, atheists who mock religion are the worst. Well, I'll say this to you, SK. Depending on how you define mock, that may just be something that we're going to have to live with. I don't think that there's any good. Wow. This is opening up topics. I think it's okay to criticize, and I think it's okay to show things aren't consistent, and I think it's okay to show where some things are even barbaric or bad. If you believe that's mocking, then I guess we're just going to have to disagree. I'm going to leave it open for about 60 to 120 seconds to respond to anyone who wants to. By 6:11 my time, though, I don't want us to discuss that anymore. You can decide where the money goes. What? Oh, okay. Okay, Andy Tiger. I remember the line too, but I took it to mean only they are briefed. I don't remember what you guys are even talking about. I've never heard that Starfleet classified Q's existence. In fact, Janeway specifically says every captain and first officer Starfleet has been briefed about your appearance on the Enterprise. I don't know. I don't know how they would have classified him, though. I guess they'd just be an entity, maybe like a Type 5 entity or something. I don't know. SK Wills, let me say this. So SC is spelling God as GAWD to deliberately insulting. I would hope that the God you believe in is a lot more, has made of sterner stuff than to be a misspelling of his name. However, if you don't want him spelling it that way, or you have a huge issue, I'm going to ask both of you just to stop talking about it. And we can go that way. Firstly, you must define what a God is. What God is, what your God is, etc. This debate can be had in any intellectual, consistent way. I would agree with that, Darren, but I don't think we have a consistent definition in Star Trek, which is the one of the keys here. So let me ask this. Is there a defined definition? Redundant is redundant. Is there a definition for God specifically by Starfleet? What do you think? And if so, what is it? Because I honestly don't know. I don't even think there's a consistency in religion among the other belief systems. I still think Starfleet should have a Lovecraft branch that investigates the possibility. I mean, they may be. I just don't see how. I don't know. Star Trek is not consistent. I would agree with that. I meant that Starfleet hides his existence to a degree, like classified info. Oh, no, I don't think so. A lot of people know about Q, and Q shows himself everywhere. So I don't see how they could possibly hide the existence of Q. I don't know. It's not like the Omega particle, because Q appears in the middle of quarks. So how are you hiding that? You know? I could see Starfleet trying to cover up the existence of the Q to non-Starfleet citizens. I just don't think that they'd be able to. What do you think of the YouTube channel Isaac Arthur? I don't think I've ever seen him. Have I seen Isaac Arthur? Let me see. Isaac Arthur. I have not. I've never seen this channel before. But I'll tell you what I will do. Whoa! I'll turn that off first. I'll subscribe to the channel. I'll watch some of his stuff. SK Wills, going back to your point. Again, if you don't like people saying it, we can just change the subject, and I'll ask people not to say it like that. But I'm going to say this. To your definition of you don't like the way God is being spelled. Some people will put an asterisk between G and D because they don't like spelling God. That is insulting to them. That's saying it vain to them. So I would challenge you to think on how you take that. I will. But that said, if it's upsetting you, we'll just change the topic. Go watch Isaac Arthur. I've never seen him. I'll have to do that. Q would probably have the most in common with Nyarlathotep. I don't know who that is. Star Trek needs a series of books explaining everything that are declared canon, superseding everything previous. Yeah, until they decided to override that. CBS is horrible. They are absolutely the worst when it comes to this entire, they do it when it comes to this entire, affair on, continuity. CBS just doesn't care. They just want to make money. That's why Star Trek Discovery is canon. That's why, the animated series is now canon. That's why that stupid ass, what the hell is it? That short trek? That's canon. The short trek with the bot and the frackin' whatever the hell his name is. Oh man, I purged that from my memory. The whatever the hell it is. That creature is canon. That animated short trek is fucking canon. Why? Because they want to make money. Now, I agree. If they said they put something down and they said, hey, X is canon and forever will be, that would be nice. That would be nice. But they changed their mind so much that it just, The mycelial network can resurrect life forms. So is that a god? Q can resurrect life forms. The Bajoran prophets literally go back in time, infest a human being, force them to have sex against their will with another human being in order to create their space Jesus. So, I mean, Ephraim, yeah, I fucking hate that thing. No, the Tribble short trek actually, it's Ephraim and Dot, you guys know. The Tribble short trek, while annoying, still can fit within canon. It still can be there. There's a lot that doesn't make sense, but it is on par with TNG and DS9. That short trek, a lot of people hate it, but that one at least makes some sense. Naya Lar Tho Tep. Okay, I got it. Thank you. But that short trek, Ephraim and Dot, no, there's nothing. There's no way. There are so many continuity thing break. Discovery, the whole of Star Trek Discovery season 1 and season 2 are just lockstep with continuity compared to that. So this stupid ass animal. First off, let's talk about the Dots. How they are more human than Data will ever be. They are literally sentient slaves by Starfleet. Literally. Yosef, thank you for the super chat. I'll take a look at it in a second. They are literally sentient slaves. So let's ignore that for the second, though. So you got Ephraim. You got this tardigrade. He sets his eggs in the engine because that's where it's warm. Through the original series, there are multiple times and into the movies where the spaceship goes into space dock, is completely powered down, and they go through and they fix it or they upgrade it and everything like that. So that doesn't make any sense. The fact that it travels through time, through the mycelial network, go into all these things and it's never seen doesn't make any sense. As well as the fact that when Kirk blows the ship to hell, which, by the way, apparently has an A on it, when he blows that to hell, he kills every sentient robot there. And yes, SC, I'm aware that it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon in canon. The animated series is a cartoon, and it's canon too, and that doesn't make any sense as well. They do as stupid stuff. I get that it's a cartoon. I get it. I get the concept. Another $2 to make up tutorials. That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for the support. You need to give me a specific channel or I'm going to choose it myself. And it'll be something horrific. Oh, what's that dude? It'll be Shane Dawson. I'll do Shane Dawson's makeup tutorial. How would the Klingons use the Spartans from our history? I'd think they would see them as people who wouldn't fight unless they have to. How would the Klingons see the Spartans? I guess the Klingons would see the Spartans as practical. The Spartans would fight all the time. And they would look for fights. So they don't just hang back. I don't think so. I should say not good enough. It's not good enough. Darn it. Just in case we need a topic change, does anyone else wonder if the Trill symbionts are secretly conspiring to take over the galaxy? That is a good question. I did have a good Christmas, Bruno. I hope you had a good Christmas as well. I don't see the need for a change. I think SK Wills and others are skirting that, though. That we may want to back off of that. So I am going to say that based on the fact that we're now name calling. SK Wills and the multiple people you're talking with, let's just back off on all of that and discuss it from a Star Trek specific. because we don't need to be calling each other anything. I'd love to see laconic, famous sayings translated into Klingon. You know, there's a channel that has several Klingon songs, and they sing the songs in Klingon. They have several songs sung in Klingons. Just in case we need a topic change, does anyone know if the Romulans are secretly conspiring to take over the galaxy? The interesting thing is, I think the Romulans, looking at that, by the way, I'm going to say 60 seconds. So much for goodwill towards men. I always yell, though. It's a good day for me when I'm yelling. 60 seconds, and I want you guys to stop discussing it, or I will place everyone in a 60-second timeout. Or 120 second. I can't control it. I'll place you in a timeout. You're already a mod, aren't you, JJMF video? I thought you were. I'll make you a mod. I'll say this, though. I'm generally very open when it comes to what people can say and stuff. You have to go out of your way to get it blocked. So don't be too block happy on that. Let me say this. Back to the Romulans. Romulans are an interesting thing. I think the hierarchy, like the leader as well as the government itself, has a lot of Nazi-like, and I use that word. I try not to say Nazi unless I really mean it. They are very, very authoritarian. I think the people of the Romulans, are pretty laid back. I think that they are honestly open to it, I don't think they want to fight. I think they want to know people. I really think it is the government. Oh, SK Wills. Interesting you bring that up. Palpatine. Here's an interesting fact. Palpatine is never said in the original trilogy. Riddle me that. A lot of people are upset about the name Palpatine. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but they are. Palpatine, never said in the original trilogy. Didn't realize that until someone pointed it out to me. I want Kolkokin's ship from the animated series. I hate everything you choose me. Come peeps, hit the like button. Only 39 likes. I think Romulans are way too paranoid as well, the government anyway. Yeah, well, when you look in TNG, man, they had such a good arc with the Romulans. I'm sorry that they gave up on it. With the Romulans, we see military personnel that don't want to fight with Starfleet. We see a lot of the civilians don't want to fight, and even a lot in the government don't want to. It's just like this very niche authoritarian that have all the power. Palpatine is never said in the original. Sith is never said as well. Yeah, I think SK Will said that too. I didn't realize that till people pointed it out. I always wonder what might have been if Star Trek TNG had gone through with the plan for the Borg to wipe out the Romulans in season 2. What's your source on that? I have never heard that they were going to have the Borg knock out the Romulans. That's interesting. Maybe I can ask my question. What's your question, Morgan? I'm sorry if I missed it. If you guys want me to see something, do @LoreReloaded. It'll actually pop it up in a specialized color for me to see. I try to get all of your opinions, but people comment so much that I just look for the best ones. Well, I don't look for the best one. I just whatever one catches my fancy. But what's your source on that, Zamiko? I'd be interested in that. Toss has Cold War, not World War II allegories. The Klingons are Russian. The Romulans are Chinese. The Federation is the USA. Yeah, a lot of people can see that. A lot of people say that. I see it somewhat. Being someone who was born in the 80s and a child of the 90s, it's hard for me to put all of those together because I really wasn't as in depth at that point. So, I don't know. One day, can you do something on episode 25, season 1 called Conspiracy? I think I've already done something on Conspiracy. Is that TNG? TNG. Conspiracy. Yeah, I've done a breakdown on them. I don't remember which one it is. If you guys are in the chat and you want to look it up, I've done a breakdown on conspiracy. I know I have, but I don't know what video that would be. I have hundreds of videos now. Can you guys believe that? Hundreds of videos. Yeah, I don't know. I know I've done something on it. Since I don't remember, I guess I'll have to do another one. If we're at the point I don't remember and we can't find it, it's time to do another one. Which studio would you like to make a Star Trek RPG? I don't know. I'd love to see a Star Trek Armada 3, like a real Star Trek Armada 3, but I don't. I know there's a mod for it, but I'd like a real one. Yes, but it never finished technically. Which one are you talking about? I tell you what, Morgan Gray. Let me put that down. TNG conspiracy. What's no longer canon? In the old EU? Oh, yeah. Seems like the Remans are Romulans that evolved in the dark over too much. Yes, that's what they are like. I don't know what studio. I'd like a Armada 3, but I don't know what studio could do it. Dumb question maybe, but how do the Borg have borders when they just expand all the time? I don't think the Borg probably make their own borders. They don't say, like, these are our borders. I think the borders just naturally form to wherever they want to go. So when you see the borders there, it's just what the species is putting there. So SK Wills, let me say this. I don't want to get into another. I don't want you guys to go at it again. I will put people in timeout. I prefer, where'd you say? I prefer Doom, where Christianity exists, so does Islam and Judaism, and they evolve to the times. I think you'd like The Expanse, is the first thing I'd say. But beyond that, I actually do like a lot of fiction where religion still exists and it's explored. I personally am an atheist myself. I don't believe in a god or gods. I see no evidence for it. Another term for it is agnostic. If you believe in an agnostic is not atheist. I don't understand that, but whatever. I enjoy themes that explore that because I don't think it's something that we can prove right now, one way or the other. I don't know that we'll ever be able to prove it. And I think Babylon 5 had some good episodes with that. So I agree. I actually like seeing some form of religion. Even if it's not the ones that we're aware of or the ones that were known, just because I enjoy the concepts and the discussions of that. Talk to you later, Continuum Trek. Hey guys, you guys should check out Continuum Trek. He has a lot of good stuff. Good channel. Yeah, SK Wills, we're not going to get back into it. I don't want to talk about that. But I do enjoy fiction with religious themes in it. I think conspiracy could have been a good start to a new Star Trek series. You know, Morgan Gray, they originally the thought was to make those species the Borg, which I think would have been interesting. Why does Starfleet ban religious expression in its uniform dress code? They don't. Riker's a jerk. You see the religious expression on the uniforms in Worf. He has garb that also has a religious purpose to it. Riker is just an idiot and a jerk and a bigot when it comes to Bajorans, I guess. Move your stuff to I'll put it there, but I'll do conspiracy is one I can do and not lose money at, so I'll still do the makeup one. I feel once or if we find the living off this world Earth, the concept of religion would kind of fade away. What, Solstice, you almost got me. I'll finish my sentence, but I'm not getting pulled into it. Well, good seeing you, DJ. I don't think another life form disproves a god in any way. Disproves some, but not all. The Jedi are a religion. The Jedi are a religion. I would agree with that. Yeah, the Jedi, they call themselves a religion as well. The Force is a type of religion that they're based off of. Even if they didn't, it's definitively a religion. The Force is actually something that everybody uses, and it's used through Well, Trev, thanks for being a new subscriber. Good to see you here. Glad you like the work. The Force itself is used by other factions. They don't call it the Force, but that's what they're using. And they use it in different ways. The Force is really just the way the Jedi access this entity that can use stuff with your minds. So they literally are religious fanatics. The rebels are the bad guys. Yeah, they are. Could the Federation survive a Covenant invasion? They could with transporter technology as well as other things. Tuvok must have studied the Riker version of Starfleet dress code. I don't remember what you're talking about. If Tuvok did remove that, then again, that goes against it because you do see other non-Starfleet, historically non-Starfleet species celebrating religious iconography on their uniforms. And that is true. Midichlorians don't exist. It's just a lie to sell glow swords. There were millions of stormtroopers and officers with families and wives on the Death Star. That is true. In fact, Star Trek Red Squadron. No, what is it? Not Star Trek. Star Wars. It's not Red Squadron. What is it? What is it? It's not Jedi Fallen Order. It's not Republic Commando. There was recently a Star Wars game, and I have it, I think. Star Wars Battlefront 2. What was the name of it? I forget. But in Star Wars Battlefront 2, they have a single player where you play as like Spec Ops for the Empire. And they have a book that came out before it that explains and is the background of that Spec Ops. And they talk about all the families that were on the Death Star and everything like that. It was really, well, let me rephrase. I don't think it was families on the Death Star, but there was a lot of civilians. I mean, a majority of the Death Star, when you think about it, were civilians. JJMFDL, Inferno Squad. That is exactly what it is. Yes, Inferno Squad. The book discusses how there were civilians, contractors, how when they killed it, they killed an S-ton of people that were not a part of the government. They were just working for the military. There was so many innocent people killed. It was pretty intriguing, to say the least, if you know what I'm saying. All right, guys. Unfortunately, I do have to head out. Thank you so much for the support. All of this stuff will be funded. Check out lorereloaded.com. There's not a lot there, but I'll be expanding it, and there'll be a lot of stuff that you guys can donate towards and a lot of stuff to fund. I really think it's going to be a great idea. Sorry, I do have to head out now. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next.